Good morning. It is Wednesday, the 29th of March, and we continue looking at the book of the prophet Jeremiah today, chapter 25, verses 30 to 38. A reasonably short reading, put in a manner of a psalm or a little song or chant, but it speaks of God's final word, as it were, on the impending destruction of Jerusalem. God has, in a sense, he implies, I've warned and warned and warned you, and you refuse to listen. Now the time for destruction has come. And one might be left thinking, this is quite a vengeful God. His patience has run out. Is his patience short or is it long? It's always sad to hear of someone facing the consequences for their misdemeanors, and we often want to come to their rescue. And yet God is, as I said yesterday, a God of justice, but also a God of righteousness. And so God has warned the people over and over and over again. Just as an interesting aside, the New Testament lesson for today from the book of Romans, or Paul's letter to the church in Rome, Romans 10, verses 14 to 21, you see Paul reference not this specific example, but reference the way that God has spoken continuously, constantly to all people. Elsewhere in Romans, the very beginning, Paul says, we are all of us without excuse. This is talking very much in a New Testament setting, but I think it references just as powerfully into an Old Testament setting and into the setting of the Jewish people. Now that includes you and me. God has spoken. Have we listened? God speaks in a myriad of ways, and our excuse cannot be, for example, I never went to church, or I missed that particular sermon on that particular Sunday, the one Sunday I missed. No, because the message of God is repeated incessantly, constantly, continuously, all the time. Paul says the very nature and splendor of creation around us, as we look out into the starry skies at night and see that part of the universe that we can see with our eyes, it is all declaring the glory and the existence of God. And if you come to realize God exists, you have to go and seek him and find out more about him and follow him and not be led astray. It's quite an exercise, a little bit of homework, but it is made all the more easier by the role and the witness of the church, and that includes you and me, because presumably you're a member of a church if you're going to be listening to this little talk of mine. How are you witnessing to those around you in your lifestyle by the words that you speak? And your lifestyle is probably the easiest to do and also the most powerful to do. And those who are equipped and vociferous can speak and add into this. So, folks, we are without excuse, as was Judah at the day, and they faced the consequences. But what is interesting, and it is a point brought out by Paul in his letter to Rome, is that even though there was this destruction, God still had a plan B, or was this a plan C, D, E, or F, or something going on? God has a plan of salvation for his people, for those who listen to him. And if you refuse to listen, well, there will be another plan, and other people will listen and will come. So God's plan was, of course, the coming of the Messiah. In effect, it had been prophesied and was there all along. I think at the time, many people did not fully understand, but as we look back with the benefit of hindsight, we can see how Jesus was prophesied about all along. Jesus is the ultimate fulfillment of God's redemption for humankind. Are you part of that redemption? Or are you skirting on the edges, like riding on a merry-go-round? If you get too close to the edge and you lose concentration for a bit, you're going to fall off. Happened to me on numerous occasions. Concentrate, hang on tight, move to the center. The centrifugal force is much less there, mixing my analogies now. So folks, remain loyal to God and remain committed to him. This is what God wants, and this is what will save you. Otherwise, we will all face the consequences of our misdemeanors and our bad actions, our forgetfulness. Folks, have a wonderful day. God bless.